How's it, punters? Welcome back to BSBZA, and today we are talking about the Durban July 2024 edition. With me, as he has been for the last 4 years, is the man who's going to be providing his tips and analysis for a couple of races for the big day. It's Tim from Pocket, the winner. Tim, pretty interesting field we've got here. How have you been, first of all?
No, all good. Thank you so much, Rob. Thanks for the invite. As always, it's always a pleasure being on the podcast. And to the listeners, thank you for tuning in. I think we've had some great times over the years, and I know last year we picked a few winners. So let's hope we can do the same for the public again. How you been keeping your side?
Yeah, pretty good. Not going down to the July this year, so I think it's the first time in a couple of years I'm actually not going to be at the race. But you mentioned you're going to be down there yourself.
Oh, absolutely. You know, the whole Pocket the Winner syndicate to our more paying members, they'll know that we have a nice picnic spot and a tent booked up and everything. So quite a bunch of members gonna do a nice get together, enjoy the races, and most importantly, get the winners.
Yeah, have a lekker draw down there. It's always a blast. Hopefully the
No,
weather's going
thank
to
you
be
so much.
decent. I know last year there were lots of issues with with load shedding. It was quite a disaster actually. I think it was the last two races didn't run. But anyway, we're not going to get into that now. We're going to get into
Yeah.
the 2024 edition. It's taking place this Saturday, and we're going to start off just by running through. We're going to be talking about race 2, race 7, which is the main race, race 9, and race 12. There'll be timestamps in the video for you guys who want to skip through. But let's start off with race number 2, Tim. I only know much about the main race, so I'm going to let you do all the talking, of course.
Perfect. Now that's great. So thank you very much. So first of all, race number two, I want to start us off with a fantastic winner, which hopefully prices up at the moment on Hollywood Bets around 8 to 1. So let's start off the day with some value. It's nice and early. You want to build that nice kitty float for the big races and for the jackpot and the pick six. Obviously, lovely Hollywood Bets organizing a 20 mil carryover for the pick six. So let's build that float early. And I got a 7 to 1 mark down for us, which is number 3, Good Traveler, Rachel Vinnecum, Michael Roberts. Hoping for a big day for Mace Roberts, obviously having one of the fancied runners see it again in the main race, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But the first choice here, number 3, Good Traveler, I advise a proper each way bet on this individual of this gelding of the Visionaire. Rachel Vinegar gets the ride, and there's actually been a form update if people already have their Durban July card printed or they got their winning form books. Good Traveller ran quite recently last week, and he ran a stunning second, which he was finishing really well. His race off, and Rachel knows this individual tremendously well. And in this type of company, on a big day like this, he looks to be priced up correctly. He's running in the right type of field. He cracks a fantastic draw, and he's getting that 1.5 off. And I just think this is his chance to show what Good Traveller is all about. Look, it's been very frustrating horse to follow over the years. He hasn't found the winner's box. He's been very consistent in terms of places, but I just think on this big day he's going to prove one better. And I think at 7 to 1, that is an absolute absurd price. And I wouldn't be shocked on race day if this horse shortens to 4 to 1 or such, or even shorter. As I mentioned, I really think he is money for value. In terms of looking for the rest of the field, it's over this 1400 meters. You could be looking into the likes of number 7, which is the Grey King, Craig Zaki, Justin Snaith. Obviously, they also have many runners on the day, which they raid from Cape Town. But the Grey King is a stunning individual, and he's absolutely a looker. When you look at him in the field, he looks like the best horse. He's a beautiful grey horse, and he's gone off too late with his last run, taking up Green with Envy, which is running in the main race. He stepped up in class, and he was nowhere. But if you look before those runs, he was running second, 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 first, first. He's ultra consistent. He merits huge respect over this distance. And if he's at his best, he might be the one that is there to beat. Otherwise, looking at another value, which is number 6, Diane. This one is priced up at 12 to 1, and this one with Smanga Kumalu, we all know Mr. Bling. He rises to the occasion on the big days, and from a plum draw of 6, he's always thereabouts. He steps up to 1-4. I've always felt Diani is a better horse over the extra 400 meters, so I think he will actually strip fitter and go a lot closer. So, in order of preference, to start off the July kitty year, number 3, Good Traveller, 7 to 1. Have a proper each way nibble. You can't go wrong with that price. Then in second, definitely go in for that number 7, the Grey King. It's the favorite. He needs merit respect. And then for that third spot, if you're looking for another outsider, which is currently 15 to 1, Diane. That's the top 3 for race number 2.
So you fancy Grey King to basically take the race, but you're thinking Good Traveler's going to be up there in the top three with
Exactly. Well, I
with a
just
good
think
even money, just a
perfect.
shade over even money on a place there.
Exactly. I think you've summarized it great. I think the Grey King, look, he's the favorite. He's 3 to 1. He merits a lot of respect. He's the one to beat. But if he fluffers his line or he's not doesn't get going at the right time, I promise you, Good Traveler is going to mow them down. So it's either the 7 and the 3, and then if you're looking for minor monies, you can go for the 6.
Okay, so any exacta bets, maybe a 7 and a 3,
Oh,
or a swinger or something
absolutely.
like that.
Reading my mind. Swingers 7-3 box. I think that's tremendous value.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks for that input there. So it's Grey King. Tim's value bet there is Good Traveler, which is currently at about 5.56 on Hollywood Bets. It's come in a little bit since the opening. Take a nice each way, or not an each way. Take a nice place there at 2.1. And yeah, let's move on to the main race, race 7. I was down at the July for that one last year and the year before actually, and it was a cracker. We had Winchester Mansion coming in, quite an
Hmm.
outside. And I see again this year, I want to say it's priced the same as it was last year. I think it was about 15 to 1. I
Mm,
can't quite remember the exact odds of it in 2023, but I see it's not exactly favored. We've got Green with Envy and See It Again. I think
mm,
those are your two main runners there. See It Again is one that we've all heard about. A couple of new names in there as well. I mean, they're not too many kind of, I don't want to say like established horses, but horses that you hear a lot about. You've
absolutely.
got See It Again, you've got Winchester Mansion, you've got Aragosta, but outside of that, it seems like a pretty open field.
Yeah, no, well, I think you've hit the nail on the head there in terms of open field. I personally feel in the last 4 years that we've done the podcast, this is the strongest July we've seen in a very long time. Maybe, as you said as well, in respect to all the horses, not the best horses in the world, but in terms of our South African crop at the moment, definitely a lot of classy horses. And among this field, with the graded 1, 2s, and 3 winners and listed winners, any horse, even if you look at the big dark horses, 100 to 1s, they can even pop up because it is a really classy field. And there's some really nice young 3-year-olds that's also into this race, which merits respect if they're ready for the task of the big race. That we'll find out on July day itself. But I do think it's a lovely field, and I think we're in for a real treat. And like you say, don't let a form line or a odds put you off. The horses, they don't know their odds, they're running at their best. And if you have a horse that's 50 to 1, don't let that put you off. Trust me, on July day, anything can happen. And I think we saw that in the last few years as well.
Mm.
Winchester Mansion, you touched on the fact.
Sparkling Water the year before as well, also quite a big
Exactly, yes.
outsider.
Exactly, Sparkling Water 20 to 1. Yeah, last time Winchester Mansion got a lot of support at the end of just about 20 minutes before the race, but she opened up as well around 15 to 1 last year. So I mean, again, don't look at the odds too much. Follow the form lines, follow your heart, and go for that. But let's touch on the field. Obviously, the Hollywood bets, beautiful race, 5 million at stake, 2,200 meters. The crowd's roaring. Everyone's going to be shouting home their pick. And obviously, this is why we are here on the big day. I'm going to go in numerical order because I checked some of the comments last time. Obviously, it'll be lovely for me to touch on all 20, but I just can't do that. So I'll be touching in terms of preference, and then we can go on to some of the other horses that could be lurkers. But I'll try and mention as many as I can and just give my quick input, because I saw in the comments last year a few people, they wanted some input on some of the bigger fancy or the bigger odds horses, should I say. But I'll try and do my best to go through it. But let's
Can't always
start
pay
off.
too much attention to the comments because everyone wants to have their
Exactly.
2 cents, and someone's going to
Oh,
be upset that you haven't mentioned Son of
exactly.
Raj, or like we're not doing analysis here. We're not doing that. You guys can go tune into the Supersport channels and the Tote channel
Exactly.
for that sort of thing.
No, 100%. So let's touch on it in order of preference then. I think it's a good option to go for my top 6. The reason saying is because the Tote and Hollywood bets, they pay up to 6 places. So I'll be giving you guys my top 6. Right. Starting off then at number 6, and this is the lurker for me. The big upset, the big odds. Starting in my 6 fancy, which is going to be the number 14 Master Redoute. This individual is priced up at 50 to 1. You can almost find 10 to 1 a place for this one. I think for 6 places, it has a worthy shot. It loves the long distance, and in my respect, if you have some of the younger horses like Royal Victory, and obviously Flagman, you got to look at this individual who's been very, very consistent. Andre Nell, he always gets close to the July. He's never won his first July, but he always has a lurk in. I remember 4 years ago, he had a horse called Cram Bambuli. The horse was 200 to 1. The horse ran fourth, and he just outperformed him. And this conditioner knows how to get a horse ready on the big day. In terms of form, obviously this is my 6 pick. So like I said, there are others that has worthy form, better than his. But I think if he has luck in running and Lady Luck is on his side, Master Reduce at any price could be in the top 6. Right, then we go on to our fifth place, which is our fifth fancy, which is going to be, quite frankly, the favorite, or it might be second favorite. Maybe Rob, you can just give us the insight there at the
Well,
latest betting.
I'll see
But
it
that's
again,
number.
and Green with Yacht just trading exactly at the same on the
Oh,
same
is
price
it?
at the moment. So it's 4.55 for both of them. So
Okay.
it's yeah,
Uh,
Hollywood. This is on Hollywood Bet. You might find a different price elsewhere, but they're pretty much neck and neck.
Perfect. And then number 4, that should be your third favorite, if I'm correct, right?
Yes, Future
Future
Swing
Swing.
is at 6.25.
All right, so that'll be my pick number 5. Future Swing. I think obviously he has the champion jockey, the record breaker Richard Fourie. Obviously broke the record this year for the jockey championship. He is the best jockey in South Africa, not just on stats proven, but how he's absolutely demolished the South African market in the last 2 years. He's a force to be reckoned with, and you got to merit respect of him boarding the son of Fachira, called Future Swing, with Justin Snaith, Richard Fourie teaming up. Last time out, winning over the 1900 in the Grade 2 World Sports Betting 1900. It's a fantastic prep coming into this Hollywood Bets Durban July. He's rested 8 weeks. He's running fresh, and he's a horse that likes to mow them down. And with a draw 4, they can jump. He can settle him in, and as at the business end of things, he can start warming him up. And if Future Swing is all the class they make him out to be, he could be the one that runs into the first 3 or even win this July. Like I said, anything Richard Fourie touches, you gotta have respect for. Okay,
And
then we
then
go on.
I just wanted to touch
Yeah,
on Royal Victory. I mean, it's got the pole position here. Have you got any thoughts
absolutely.
on that one? I mean,
Yeah.
how important is it to have a good draw for the main
So
race in July?
So, I'll quote Clyde Basil, as we know, a man of racing class statue that's been in this game for many years. He says, a number is important because a good draw is very important, but they win from all over. And I think even over the last 6 years, most of your winners have actually been coming from the wider draws. So
Yes,
even
from
if
the
you,
outside,
if
yeah,
you,
something I've also
exactly.
noticed.
So but perfect. So even if you know, even if you're drawn 15, 16, 17, don't let it put you off. On the day, if your horse is good enough, it's going to win. But obviously, in saying that, huge respect for Royal Victory having the pole draw, because if things do go wrong, remember the nerves are high, the stresses are high, the crowd is roaring. If you jump, everyone is fighting for position. If you have that pole draw, you can get out, you can relax your horse. So immediately it's less strain on your horse, and it's a much easier, comfortable settle in for your horse. So it all depends on how the race plays out. But if it's going to be a argy bargy out of the gates and a proper battle for that leading position, you want to be drawn in the top 10, and Royal Victory has just that, and he's been super consistent. I know the connections of Royal Victory is over the moon with this individual. Muzi Yeni knows him very well. He's won 2 grade 1s. He's a dual grade 1 winner. He's cracked pole, and like you said, that merits respect. Unfortunately, Rob, he is a beautiful. I think he's priced up at around 12 to 1 or 13 to 1.
Yeah, he
But
opened at 12.5, and he's currently at about 10.
so yes, so merits respect, respectively to me. He does not fall in my top 6, but big respect, honestly, big respect. Muzi Yeni, he's known for spoiling the party, and he can definitely do it on July Day. Okay. So then touching onto my next placed horse, which will then be the fourth one. And this is going to be a little bit of a front runner, which I think is just going to be failing at the business end of things, which is going to be your number 11, Oriental Charm, JP van der Merwe, Brett Crawford. This is the stable companion of Winchester Mansion, both for the same trainer, but I think it's going to be Oriental Charm. He's a front runner. And if my tactics play out right, or how I envision the race to go, he's going to be our front runner for the July. They're going to jump, and this horse is going to go to the front. He's going to get roused along, and he's going to try and set that pace. And I just think if he sets a proper gallop, if they don't get onto him too quickly, he could do what he just did in his last effort, which was the last month, where he won the Gold Cup over the 1900 meters. Now, yes, this is over an extra 400 meters, but he's had a fantastic prep coming into the July. And with that front running tactics, if things go his way and they get to warm up a little bit late, in terms, I'm speaking of Greenwith NVC it again, which is the favourites, but they'll be mowing them down. If they get woken up a bit too late, he could just steal the show. So this is my pick, which is also a little bit of a lurker. Um, then going on to my top two, in terms of order of preference, I'll start with who I think is going to run an absolute cracker, which he did last year as well. It's number 10, See It Again. Piers Strydom, as you know, you were there at the July. He was narrowly beaten last time by Winchester Mansion. And to me, no, I'm not writing Piers Strydom down. He's a fantastic jockey, but I think he got going a bit too early. And I remark Dalpesh's, the former champion jockey, he made the same remarks as what I'm about to say. I think Strydom last year just pulled the trigger a bit just a bit too early, because his horse was cruising. He had the race in the pocket, and then sort of Strydom got a bit animated and he went too early, and that's when Winchester Mansion just flew on the outside, and there was no stopping him because he had all the momentum. So I think this time, obviously, Strydom will use his history with this horse to his advantage. If he can just hold on a little bit longer, I actually think this horse is going to run an absolute cracker, and he should be fighting out the top two respectively. Okay. Then my last one, which is obviously my tipped winner for this year's Hollywood Bets Durban July. Unfortunately, I'd love to give you guys a nice 20 to 1 sort of confidence, but I do think this year it's not going to play out into the outsiders. I am going firmly with the number 5, Green with Envy. Craig Zaki, Dean Cunnemeyer taking the ride. This horse is well above average. He's currently rated off a 127. He's unbeaten at Greyville. He's earned his right to be the favorite this year. And I think even at 4 to 1, it's a fantastic price, or whatever you can get on race day. This is a serious racehorse. Dean Cunnemeyer, this colors that Green with Envy is riding with, you would have seen him 5-6 years ago. He won with Power King. I'm not sure many readers would remember that, but it's the same silk, same owners, Kaya Stables. I think this horse is the force to be reckoned with. My only problem or niggle that I have is Craig Zaki likes to sit on this horse. And I just hope to the racing gods that when they turn in, Craig Zaki is not sitting 15, 16 lengths off them. Because if that's the case, I think he's going to mow them down, but he's going to be too late. I hope he's ridden with a little bit more concern, handy in the top 10. And then when they turn in, he doesn't have to make up many lengths. And hopefully he can just scoot on by and prove to be the horse to beat. So that's my pick. Is there any others, Rob, that you would maybe want me to touch on?
No, not really. I mean, See It Again was favorite last year. A lot of guys were piling in on See It Again last year. I remember that quite clearly.
Yes.
And obviously Winchester Mansion coming through with the win there. Uh, yeah, like I mean, you've gone with quite a few of the, let's call them like the top 5 horses here. You
Mm.
don't think there's maybe a little sneaky outsider that you could
So
tip for a place, maybe not
of
necessarily a
course,
win.
let me do that for you. So I just want to touch first on my sixth pick. Just remember that Master Redoute, he is one of the biggest outsiders. I do think he's great place value. But then if you are looking purely on looks, I can't give you the best of confidence in terms of form. But if you are looking for a bit of a roughie, number 16, Double Superlative. They did the gallops last week, and without looking at form, without keeping history in mind, this horse was the standout for me. His workout was it was just out of this world. He looked like he was the favorite in terms of how he worked out. So in terms of the gallops, in terms of the workout, That double superlative is fantastic value. I think he's well at the bottom of the betting boards, and I think that's some great value in terms of that. And if you do want to look a little bit further back in the form lines, you can find some form. Obviously, him winning the JMB Met in Cape Town, where he where he beat Rascallion. Um, Before that, he doesn't have any form to recommend. But like they always say, the saying goes, the races are not run on paper. So just remember that. So at the end of the day, double superlative and master reduced, that those are my two dark horses at any odds.
Okay, both trading at the same price, and let's mix it up a little bit this year. Sorry,
Go for it.
which horses do you not fancy? Like
Okay.
who would you
Which I
not be who would you not be backing in this July?
okay.
Obviously, you've got the likes of Aragosta,
Yes.
Shoemaker, and those kind of horses. But like, who are you
Yes, of
really
course.
fancying for just not to do well? I know you can't really bet on that in South
Yes.
Africa. You can't
No,
really
no, no. Of
fade the
course, I
picks, but
can. I'm more than happy. There might just be a few pundits out there that they need to do the opposite. That's what they always say. So maybe the luck comes in their favor of picking a absolute donkey. But yeah, first I just want to touch before I do that for you is I know this year pretty much top five, but I do think it's going to be a favorable result. So that's why I want to mention why my picks is based on that. But to answer your question, let's get into it. Number two, Barbaresco. A lot of talk about him. Gavin Larena, low weight. I don't think he'll do anything this year. Then number six, Shoemaker, Aragosta. They are not Durban July winners for me. Purple Pitcher, there's a lot of talk about him. I don't like it at all. Not the right race for him. I don't think it'll go anywhere near. I'm making the call. This might be against many people who's starting to get a lot of support for Winchester Mansion, but I don't think Winchester Mansion will be in the top six this year. Son of Raj, he still hasn't shown anything to me. Murdius, number 13, this is just way too short for him. Um, if I know there isn't a bet like that in South Africa, but if there was a bet that you could play a horse that'll be last, I think it'll be 13, Murdius. I know that's quite brutal to say. Obviously, that's my own a respectful opinion in terms of that. But Murdius, it's too short for him, too long for him. Sorry, I don't think he'll make the 2-2 in Durban. Um, and then Cousin Casey, he's a very jittery horse. He could be a coin flip. On his day, he's a fantastic horse, but I don't think he'll win the July. And number 17, Flagman, also a coin flip. He's a very young horse. He's a very smart horse. He ran second to Green with Envy, which on paper merits a lot of respect for him, but he's drawn 17 as a 3-year-old. He hasn't done a lot of racing exposure. He looks very young still. Maybe next year, this is a horse to go with. So I won't say he's going to run a bad race, but I won't say he'll win it. And then number 18, Future Pearl. I don't think that'll go anywhere. And the two reserve runners, 19 and 20, Shishlui, Hotta Ruby. I think both of them, even if they get in, they'll need all the luck in the world to feature.
okay, some interesting insight there. It's also nice to hear, why you don't think horses will perform in the July. So basically, go with the top six. You're probably not going to go wrong there. A little bit of outside value on Master Redoubt, maybe double
Yes.
superlative. Are you going to be
Yeah.
playing, an exacta maybe, or what?
Yeah. So
What
my
really
my
big
my big
odd tip could you give us for this one?
my big tip is I personally think there will be some nice value in terms of the quadrette. Obviously, the quadrette is a carryover. Hollywood Bet is putting up 15 million for the quadrette, so you'd want to catch that. But I don't think you should be looking too much at the outsiders this year. On paper, to me, and on my form analysis, I think it's going to be favorites, or not favorites, but fancied runners. So I'd go with a quadrette box 145 10, 11. And then just because I want that Gotchet to pay, I'll put in number 16 double superlative and the number 14 master reduced. All the other runners I can't see getting close. So that's my quadret 1, 4, 5, 10, 11. And then the two outsiders you can maybe rove or you can play them on them separately. But that's obviously the number 16 and where's the other one now? Yeah, master reduced number 14. So 14 and 16 on the outer. Otherwise, just go confidently 1, 4, 5, 10, 11. Yeah, I don't think you'll go wrong with those five.
And
And
also
then
also
in
keep those
terms
in
of
mind for your pick sixes, I guess.
exactly, yes, absolutely. I think that'll carry you through to the pick six, and I think you'll be just fine with those five runners. Again, if you have the budget to play wider, maybe include those two outsiders for 14 and 16. For a swingers, Quite simple. I'm not going to try and reinvent the wheel. I want to make money, and it'll still pay well because the pools are big. I'll go 5 and 10. You can't go wrong. Exacta swingers 5-10. Yes, unfortunately the top of the two boards, but hey, it's better than getting a winning bet than a losing bet. So 5 and 10 by all means.
Okay, great. I think that pretty much wraps up the coverage of the main race. Should we move on to the next one?
Okay, perfect.
Right, race number
So
9, eh?
yes, race number 9. That's correct.
Okay, we've got Cruise
Gonna.
Control, Cafe Culture, Royal
Mhm.
Aussie, and Teflon Man. Some very cool names there. I Am Giant.
Yes.
I love some of the names that they've given these horses.
Absolutely. So first of all, going to give some value to the viewers again, unfortunately, because there isn't much value in the July race. That's why I've picked these races to actually give you guys some value. A lovely 15-1 shot. Maybe it shortened a bit, but I captured some 15-1. But number 11, Quasi for sure. Quite bullish on this one to run in fantastic each way, wins and places. I'd advise that for wins and places. I really like Quasi for sure, for a real nice each way bet. Then for to complete the top three, followed by the favorite Cruise Control, which is a PE horse, ex Gavin Smith inmate. Fantastic run last time, ran his socks off. I think if he brings that run, he's gonna prove a hard horse to peg back. But again, I still think Quasi for sure will be able to beat him. Quasi for sure is my first pick at that big price, and then in third place, Teflon Man number 9. So in order of preference, 11, 5, 9.
What do they say? Nothing sticks to the Teflon Man, but hopefully pick up a winning bet on that one. So some nice picks there, and then we've got one more race that we're going to be covering, Tim, and that is the last race, race 12, which didn't run last year.
Yes, very, very sad actually that didn't happen. But we move on. Like you said, we're not here to talk about that. But um, race number 12, I call this the get out of stakes. If your July has been terrible and you need to make money back, this is where you want to do it. So um, I am quite bullish on another horse that is at any price. I think it's 10-1 and better. Number 3, Black Egret. I really like this horse. His last run, which was in turf, he got pulled off by Richard the First, and he was actually ridden quite easily. I thought he could have been given a little bit more of an aggressive ride. This time he has Smanga Kamalu in the irons, and I think he merits huge respect. Again, 11-1. I'll take that any time of the day. Big odds, love it. So I'd go 3-1. The favorite, Chocolate Soldier, that needs to go in 1. And then if you're looking for a third spot, number 6 and number 8, I really can't split them. So maybe put the 4 horses in. But quite nice, confident black egret, nice place bet. I think they're almost paying almost 4-1 on some of the bookmakers for a place. Otherwise, you can capture 3-1 right now. That's amazing odds for that.
Okay, fantastic. So you don't really fancy. I mean, or you did mention Chocolate Soldier, but I mean it's very short. It's
Yeah,
very
no,
yeah.
he is tremendously short. In a sprint race of this caliber, 1,000 meters, you're going to blink, the race is going to be over. I think he's a good horse. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be
Youngest
taking
horse in
two
the
to
field as
one.
well. It's a 2-year-old.
Exactly, yes. I wouldn't be. I just wouldn't be taking 2-1 on offer on that. I guess call me the value seeker, but I won't be taking 2-1. I'd rather get beaten properly on a 12-1 and make a lot of money, or rather stay out of this one and not back a 2-1, which hasn't proven himself in KwaZulu Natal yet. He's had one round in KwaZulu Natal. They brought him down for the 400-meter dash. He was at any odds. Also, he was like 1-1. He was hot favorite. He ran nowhere. So I mean, history repeats itself sometimes. And the interesting thing is, Kumalu has actually partnered Chocolate a few times now, and he's getting off the number 1, and he's getting on the number 3. So jockey change for a bigger odds horse, that's a question you can ask yourself why they're doing that. Um, so yeah, that's why I'm quite bullish on the Clinton Binder inmate Black Egret. Again, it's a beautiful price. I can't believe it's 12-1. That should shorten a lot.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Tim. And that brings us to the end of our coverage. Tim, you're running a promotion over on www.pocketthewinner.co.za. You said it was 200 Rand for was it a month worth of tips? You want to tell the listeners
Yes,
a bit more about that?
yeah, thanks so much, Rob. So yeah, if you guys would like, obviously the rest of the races, there's still 9 other races that we haven't touched on into this YouTube video, and in this podcast. But if you want some more in depth details, tips, pick sixes, PAs, buy pots, best bet, long shots, value bets, multiples, the whole lot. Consider joining us at www.pocketthewinner.co.za. Currently have a lovely July special, especially made for this podcast. They can find it. They can find it on our website on the shop category page, and it's $1.99. It's not just for the July day; it's for 30 days of tips. If you divide that, you're basically paying $4, £4 a day. So I mean, it's absolutely value for money. Then you'll get everyday tips, including a full write up of the July day itself. So yeah, get stuck in there and let's guide the winners. I will be on track as you mentioned earlier. So we do have a few. We might even have MJ Bailefeld, the ex jockey, also joining our picnic spot. So I mean, if the info is flowing, the info will be flowing to the members. So let's get stuck in and have a great day.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Tim, and best of luck with your July tips and enjoy the event.
Well, thanks so much, Rob. Again, thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to our renewal of next year if all goes well.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning into this podcast episode for the Durban July 2024. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you in the next video. Have a good one. Cheers.